Welcome to a bonus episode of Golf Mobility Pro. Today we're talking about the term 3 planes of motion. Now this may be something that you have heard in relation to exercise programs, but it's also something to know in relation to your golf swing. A lot of exercise programs focus on moving the body in just one plane of motion, be that the sagittal plane or moving forward and backward in flexion and extension, moving in the frontal plane or shifting from side to side through abduction and adduction, or in the transverse plane, also known as the rotational plane. The thing about training for golf is that your golf swing happens in all 3 planes of motion. So when working on golf fitness, we need to make sure that we're moving in the sagittal plane, the frontal plane, and the transverse plane. So let's take a closer look at each plane of motion. Sagittal plane refers to an imaginary line that runs along the length of the body, dividing it into left and right halves. Any movement that you're going forward or backward or going through flexion and extension is moving along the sagittal plane. If you think about stepping forward in a lunge or coming into a bicep curl, these are both sagittal plane movements. In the golf swing, this looks like flexing the hips as you lean over a golf ball, flexing at the ankles, flexing and extending the spine as you swing the club, and being able to move your shoulders through their full range of motion. The frontal plane divides the body into the front and the back halves, also known as the anterior side and the posterior. When we come into any movement in the frontal plane, it's always lateral movement. So that looks like shifting your hips from one side to the other, lifting the arms out to the sides, coming into a side bend, movements that frequently occur in the golf swing, especially when it comes to the hips. Last but not least, we have the transverse plane or the rotational plane, and as the name implies, it's coming into rotation. This plane divides the body into upper and lower halves, and it's all about rotational movement. It's easy to see how this applies to the golf swing, as you have to rotate through the upper body, rotate through the hips and the spine in order to generate power, club head speed, and distance in your swing. Now let's go over a couple of exercises for each plane of motion to begin thinking about how to incorporate 3-dimensional movement into your golf training. Start in a high lunge position, stepping the right foot forward and the left foot back, picking the left heel up so that your hips are square to the front of your space. Bring your hands to your hips and hug the inner thighs together. From this position, press down through the front foot, straighten the front leg, and then bend back into the knee, keeping the knee stacked over the ankle, if not a little bit behind it. As you continue this movement, we're moving through the sagittal plane, coming into flexion and extension in the hips, the knees, and the ankles, while also building strength in the lower body and balance. Now holding this position, reach your left arm up to the sky. Lean slightly to the right, so you're moving into a side bend, coming into the frontal plane, moving laterally, and then come back to center. So as you hold the position in the sagittal plane, we're moving into the frontal plane with the upper body. Last but not least, let's move into rotation. Hold your club out in front of you at shoulder height. Keeping the lower body strong and stable, rotate your upper body over the front leg. So we're turning to the right, and then rotate back to center. As you work on rotation in the upper body, we're cultivating the stable lower body, the exact movements that happen in the golf swing. If you're looking for more, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Click on the link below to enroll in the Ultimate Golf Fitness Program, a 12-week progressive course to help you improve mobility, strength, and power in your game.